In the open meadows and savannas of the southern region of the African Sahara, you will encounter a beautiful bird with long legs that reach a length of about 1.5 meters. It has a head resembling that of an eagle, but on top of it, there are feathers that resemble a crown, giving the bird a queen-like appearance. It has dense eyelashes encircling its eyes, similar to human eyelashes. Naturally, a bird with such a unique shape and description would significantly attract your attention, and you would likely want to approach it and befriend it, similar to how one might interact with a peacock, for example. However, before taking that step, I need to tell you not to let the bird enchant you with its beauty and distinctive appearance, because appearances can be deceiving. This bird is not just an adorable bird by any means, and I'm not only saying that it is a predatory bird, but it is also considered one of the fiercest predators. Hello, I'm Davis, and in today's episode, we will talk about the killer queen, the secretary bird. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you can receive our videos as soon as they are uploaded. The secretary bird is larger in size compared to typical birds, with thin and long legs that have a joint in the middle, resembling a crane. It reaches a length of about 1.5 meters, with incredibly long wings spanning over 2 meters. On average, its body weighs around 5 kilograms. Despite being taller than any other predatory bird, the secretary bird neck is not long at all and is not longer than its counterparts such as eagles or falcons, for example. Unlike an ostrich, which has an extremely long neck that it can bend downwards to pick up food from the ground without bending its body, the secretary bird neck does not assist it in that manner. Instead, to capture its prey from the ground, the secretary bird needs to lower its entire body and bend its knee joint to reach the ground and grasp its meal. Most likely, the secretary bird is a terrestrial bird, unlike other predatory birds. Being terrestrial means that it hunts from the ground and chases its prey on foot. However, being terrestrial doesn't mean it cannot fly. It is capable of flying but tends to spend more time on the ground. The secretary bird's characteristics, in general, are unique and peculiar, with many different names that could have been used to describe this bird. However, despite that, it was named the secretary bird. But what is the reason behind this name? The name secretary bird is indeed an English name that dates back to the 19th century when Europeans first discovered these birds. At that time, English secretaries and clerks used to wear gray coats and wide knee-length trousers. They also wore collars around their necks and tucked feather quills behind their ears. If you observe closely, you'll find that the secretary bird, with its long-legged appearance covered in feathery plumage that reaches the knees, bears a striking resemblance to an English secretary. It has long, dark feathers on top of its head resembling a secretary's collar, and its long, gray wings resemble a coat. Most importantly, the black feathers covering its legs up to the mid-shin resemble the short pants worn by English secretaries. It would be fascinating to compare a picture of a secretary bird with that of an English secretary and discover the similarities for yourself. The secretary bird employs two different hunting techniques. The first method involves chasing and striking its prey with its beak. The second method is unique to the secretary bird, where it stomps on the prey and delivers rapid and consecutive kicks. This behavior has garnered significant attention and has led to the bird's notable reputation. After the prey is either completely dead or exhausted from the intense assault, the secretary bird lifts it from the ground using its beak and tosses it into the air before swallowing it whole. This strategy is similar to the feeding behavior proposed by paleontologists for dinosaurs millions of years ago. It is this resemblance that has led scientists to compare the secretary bird to dinosaurs. The secretary bird has a preference for consuming snakes, which often include highly venomous species. These snakes use their venom as a defense mechanism. However, when attacked by the secretary bird, there is little escape for them. This is because the bird possesses thick and hollow feathers that protect it from snake bites, which typically do not cause any pain to the bird. The venom doesn't even reach the bird, and the snake's attempts to defend itself against the secretary bird often prove futile. Regarding the life of the secretary bird, its mating and courtship occur anytime between the months of March and June. During this time, the male attempts to attract the female's attention by displaying his beauty and the beauty of his plumage. He spreads his wings, dances, leaps into the air, and performs impressive displays. If successful in capturing the female's attention, they mate and construct a large nest together, which can reach a length of up to 2.5 meters. They build the nest using branches, sticks, animal fur, leaves, and grass. The construction of the nest can take the pair up to 6 months to complete. The reason for this lengthy duration is their meticulous and skillful construction, as they intend to live in the nest for many years rather than it being solely a place for the female to lay eggs. After finishing the construction of the well-built nest, the female lays an egg every 2 days for 3 days, resulting in a total of 3 eggs. The female takes on most of the incubation duties until the eggs hatch in sequence. In the first few weeks after hatching, one of the parents of the secretary bird is always present in the nest with the chicks, feeding them and taking care of them. Within 9 weeks, the parents start teaching their offspring how to fly and how to fall from the nest. After the young birds learn to fly, the parents enter a second stage, which is teaching them hunting and kicking with their feet, which is the key characteristic of the rider bird. After a short period, the offspring quickly learn these skills and start going on hunting trips on their own. You will notice that the rider bird is completely silent and doesn't make any sound. However, in certain situations such as mating, pain, or defending the nest, it may produce a very faint whimpering sound that is barely audible. This is in contrast to other predatory birds whose calls are usually loud. 1971, the San Diego County Board of Supervisors funded the San Diego Zoo Safari Park to purchase a pair of rider birds. Since then, the secretary bird has spread to various zoos and is not limited to grassy areas. Currently, the San Diego Zoo Safari Park houses more than 12 secretary bird, and these birds participate in shows and exhibitions for visitors. As a visitor, you can now observe them performing their dances and engaging in their natural behaviors. Despite being widely distributed, the secretary bird population is threatened due to habitat loss, even though it is protected in many African countries. In an attempt to intensify protection efforts for the bird, an agreement was reached in 1968 to protect all species of rider birds. However, despite these efforts, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, listed it as an endangered species in 2016. Despite its wide distribution, the species is sparsely distributed within its range. This means that while it is found in many locations, its population numbers are low. Among the responsible entities for protecting the secretary bird are the Africans themselves. This is because the bird is highly popular among African communities. It consistently captivates people with its striking appearance, leaving anyone who sees it amazed. Just as egret bird is a farmer's friend, the rider bird is a friend to Africans. It helps them by controlling pests and vermin that can harm both the people and their farms. Due to these reasons, it is impossible to find an African who would ever harm or disturb the secretary bird. The African Maasai people have utilized the secretary bird in traditional folk medicine. They would inhale the ashes of burned secretary bird feathers as a remedy for epilepsy, consume its eggs twice a day to treat headaches, and even use it in treating livestock ailments. The popularity of the secretary bird extended beyond African countries. Evidence of its popularity dates back to around 3200 BCE when its image was discovered on an ivory knife handle imported from Egypt. This suggests that the secretary bird likely enjoyed significant popularity along the Nile River, extending to Egypt. So today we talked about the secretary bird. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to get all the latest updates. This keeps me going. Thank you for making it this far. You are the best.